How's it going, everybody? It's Stas here, and in today's video, we're going to be going over nothing other than the markets, the S&P, the Dow, and the NASDAQ, and I also want to share with you guys what I personally did today in these markets, as well as a bunch of stocks and a bunch of ETFs that I'm watching and that I'm looking to trade right now, and some that I'm actually buying here in the short, medium term that I think have a lot of potential. And like you all read in the title, there are a couple of key levels on the S&P that I want to go over, and we're going to talk about those in today's video as well, and just a bunch of thoughts on the markets in general. So if you guys enjoy this video, as always, hit that like button for me and consider subscribing to the channel if you want to see further content like this, and feel free to go down below in the description box and check out our Discord chat, our Facebook group. Those are free of charge, and you can also get 2 free stocks from Webull, valued up to $1,400 with a deposit of $100 down below in the description box. So let's get right into this video, starting off with the S&P 500. The S&P ended up closing down $28 today, down roughly 1%. And if you guys were watching the markets earlier in the day, there was a lot of action actually in the first 2 hours. We opened up 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard, and we slipped pretty aggressively. The S&P at one point was down 65 points. It might have been down 70 points at one point, but either way, from where we opened down to where we hit the bottom, we lost roughly 2% on the S&P. And if we pull back on this chart, it's always important, guys, when you're doing technical analysis, take a look at the daily chart, take a look at the 5-day, 5-minute, and if you're in doubt with your trade or with a stock, ETF, index, whatever you're analyzing, it's important to even pull back further and maybe go to, let's say, the 3-year chart or maybe even the 20-year chart. But in this case, I want to show you guys some details on this 20-day chart. With today's price action, the S&P actually held a very critical level of support. And take a look at this level. It is 2740, 2730, this general area, because this level a couple days ago was actually a resistance. And if we zoom back to, let's say, this 90-day chart, you can actually see 2730, this general area, was a support back before this massive crash. Actually, it was in the middle of the crash back on the 10th of March. So, in other words, this is a very key level for the S&P, and the fact that we held it today back on the daily chart, you can see we held 2730, we retested it at about 1:15 Eastern Standard, and we closed on a nice rally. That is a good sign that despite the fact that we actually closed red today, the bulls are still in charge based on these technicals that I'm seeing, at least, right? And you can see it very clearly. Back on this hourly chart, we're uptrending. This is simply, at this point, a higher low in terms of the uptrend, and I could definitely see some further upside here on the S&P, with the next level of resistance that I'm looking at least, being at about 2860, 2870. This is another key level to watch on the S&P, because back in August to about roughly October in 2019, you can see we bottomed there multiple times, about 5 to 6 times. So that makes it a key resistance now, since we're under that level. So for the S&P, keep an eye out for 2730 to 40, that general area of support, and the resistance at about 2870. I can see the S&P going there in the short term, but longer term, if we're taking a look at about a year out, I'm still not too convinced that we've seen the bottom quite yet. Like I've said in these videos, I'm very skeptical of this rally, but either way, I focus not on whether the market is crashing or whether the market's flying up. I'm focusing on the technicals, and I'm trading the technicals, and this way I don't have to, cloud my judgment with different theories of, oh, we're crashing again, oh, we're going all-time highs. That doesn't really matter to me. What matters are the technicals. I trade the technicals, and that's how you make money, whether the market's bearish or bullish, right? And that's kind of what I've been focusing on, and you guys know that. So if we take a look at the Dow actually didn't do that great either. Down 328 points, down 1.4%. And a critical resistance that we tested, was that today? I think that might have been on Thursday. Yeah, it was on Thursday. We tested 24,000, got rejected by that level. But either way, we're holding the uptrend just like the S&P. So unless we break 22.5, this 50 SMA on this hourly chart here, the Dow is uptrending, guys. And if we take a look at the NDX, surprisingly, this thing ended up closing green, guys, up almost 100 points on the day, up 1.14%. And this is heavily because of tech. If you guys saw tech today, you can't see it on my watch list because my big head is in the way of the watch list, but all of these tech stocks, Netflix, Microsoft, Google, well, Facebook was red, but Amazon and Apple, 5 of the 6 main tech stocks that I track were green. And we saw Amazon actually have a ridiculous day, up 6% today. And honestly, why did it have this massive day? Is it something that I missed? I probably missed it today, guys, because the truth is I wasn't focused on tech stocks at all today. I was really heavily focused on these gold stocks, which if you follow me on Instagram, which is down below, it's at StasserFest, you saw that I was talking about these gold stocks on my stories today. So I kind of missed what happened there with Amazon and all of these tech names. If you guys want to let me know, feel free to comment down below. But either way, these massive tech names, Amazon, Netflix, I saw this one earlier, was up 7%. That's just insane. Apple was up about 2%, which is still pretty decent. So that is why we're seeing the NASDAQ actually push green today and do quite well, 1.14%. That is a very solid day in the stock market. And taking a look at the futures, it seems like we're up even further after hours here on the NASDAQ. So in terms of the overall markets, the technicals, we are bullish. The bulls are in charge as of now in the short term, and we can't really predict what's going to happen in a couple months from now, but at least in these next couple of days, I could definitely see, a nice little push to the upside here in these markets, which in turn, we may be able to profit on some of these stocks that I'm going to be talking about here in a couple of minutes. So let me know down below, what are your thoughts on the market? Is this a bull trap still? Are we going to all-time highs? Are we going down, to test the bottom, or do you not care about what's going to happen and you just, trade the technicals, kind of what I do, right? So let me know down below in the comments. Now, let's talk about what I did today, and let me tell you guys, I'm not a perfect trader. Obviously, nobody is. Everybody takes losses, but today, a lot of things went right for me. It was one of those days that I had a pretty solid day, and we'll talk about exactly what I did. And again, if you guys are in that Discord chat, we talk about our positions pretty much all day in there, and I called out this one gold stock. Actually, it was a gold ETF, and that is GDX. And again, if you guys were on my Instagram, if you're in the Discord chat, and if you've been following the channel over these past couple of weeks, I've been saying I'm bullish on gold, I'm bullish on silver in the short term, right? And honestly, over the long term as well, but especially in the short term. And I'm bullish these gold stocks, these gold ETFs. And today we saw a ridiculous rally from GDX. If you guys can see it here, it was up almost $2, up 6.3%. And if we go on this daily chart, we can see the extraordinary rally that it made. And again, I got let's just say it, I got lucky today. Today was a very good day for me. I bought GDX at $28.21. That is where I put my limit order, and It was after it bottomed. It was after it hit this 27.9 level. Did I know at that moment it was the bottom? Absolutely not. But I scaled in a little bit with a position at 28.20, and ultimately it ended up running so quick that I didn't even add more money into it. So if you guys pull back, or rather me, because I'm controlling the computer, if I pull this back, we can see on the 5-day, 5-minute, this was a very critical level of support on, for GDX. If we see what happened on Thursday, we failed at about 28.30. We retested it at the close of the market, and we actually rallied up into the close, and we held this level of support after hours on Thursday. And the fact that we pulled down and retested it, and honestly, I got in a bit prematurely, but it's okay. But I wanted to get in at 28.20, at 28.30, because I had a feeling that we were going to see a big push today, especially because gold was pulling back as well. And it was tuning for, a rally. And we saw gold earlier. Speaking of gold, it did absolutely incredible today. You can see it this morning. It was starting to turn up. And again, this all went simultaneously with my trade. So ultimately, 28.20 is where I ended up getting in, 28.21, and I sold out at 29.80. 29.77, because I rode it all the way to this peak, did not sell at 29.95. Again, I don't have a crystal ball. Nobody knows exactly where the bottom is or the top. And I ended up riding it down a bit to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm up, 5-6% on my position. Let me just lock this in very quickly. And that's exactly what I did. Made about 5%. And the truth is, I wanted to get back into GDX. But if you guys know, today, actually, ThinkOrSwim, and I'm sure many of you guys experienced this, it actually malfunctioned. It was down for about an hour or two, exactly in this time period where I wanted to re-enter. But that actually leads me to my second trade that I actually took, which was a short-term GDX options play. And let me pull up my notes to tell you guys exactly which contracts I bought. I bought the 417, which is this Friday, the $33 calls for GDX. And I actually took some money from CCL. If you guys remember, I bought CCL puts about 2 weeks ago. A very aggressive trade, $4 puts on CCL. Those were worth 1 penny on Thursday, right? So I pretty much lost all my money. I didn't put too much. I put I bought 5 contracts of those options for about 50 cents each. So I spent about like $250. But either way, I took some of those, the losses. I took what was left, because the contracts from CCL, they went from 1 penny, guys, get this, and they went all the way up to 30 cents today. There was I think it was like a 3,300% return if you were to buy them at 1 penny on Thursday and held them to today. But either way, I took that loss on the CCL puts, and I converted them into those calls, which I bought at 21 cents, and I'm actually still holding them. And at this point, I believe they're valued at about 29 cents. And if you guys actually want to get into options, I personally use Webull. It's a great platform. Again, there's an affiliate link down below. You can get 2 free stocks. And honestly, I think they're a lot better than Robinhood, because you can have the charting software on there, a great charting software. And the way it just lists everything and, the platform in general, I love it. So if you guys, ask Stas, where do you do your options? I used to do them on Robinhood, I'll be honest. But once Webull got options, I hopped on a Webull, and I absolutely love it. So for GDX, that is what I ended up doing. And I also took a trade today in DGAS, which again, guys, this stuff, you can't make it up, right? I had a very solid day today, not tooting my own horn, because I've lost money plenty of days. But today is one of those days that it was a solid day. And overall, DGAS is one that we talked about in yesterday's video. And the important thing is, guys, to be prepared. How did I take advantage of these opportunities? It's not because I woke up today at 9:30 Eastern, went on my computer and I just randomly bought stocks and ETNs and ETFs. No, that's just not the reality. I prepared. I looked at these stocks and ETFs over the weekend. I did my research. I broke down charts. I formulated plans. And I knew what I wanted to do, and I was patient, and I waited for the opportunities, and I struck on those opportunities. And DGAS was one of those, right? We pulled down, we saw the overall hold on this uptrend, right? We held about $230, $240. I actually got in at $245. If we go on this daily chart, we bottomed at $230 pre-market. We actually held a higher low on this little drop after the market open, and this is where I ended up getting in, guys. I got filled at $245, and I put a limit sell immediately at about $250, $260. But as I saw it, rising up very quickly, I ended up popping it up to $265, and that is exactly where I got filled. So today, guys, is it a typical trading day for me where I'm winning every trade? I'm making pretty sick returns. This was 8%. The GDX trade was about 6%. Those call options I have on GDX, they're up like 30% right now. Is this a typical day for me? No. Do I have days like this? Yes. Do I have bad days where I make no money? Yes. And the whole point of this channel is for me to document the trades, document my journey, and to just share with you guys kind of what I'm doing, because I know many of you all find value in this stuff. So let me know down below in the comments, what did you guys end up doing today? Any thoughts on the markets, again, in general, let me know down below. Now let's just talk about, like you guys saw, what stocks am I buying? And it's a pretty dead giveaway, because I talked about GDX and I talked about the gold stocks a lot on on Instagram today. It's the gold stocks, and in particular GDX, GDXJ, and GLD. These are the three that I'm looking at, and SLV if you're looking to track a silver ETF. But in general, guys, I'm looking to buy call options, which I already did on GDX, and I'm actually looking to buy some longer term call options, as I do see the price of gold, again, like I've said in these videos, go to $2,000. I can definitely see that. And one thing you notice about these mining companies is they're very sensitive to the price increase in gold, and they don't follow the price of gold. You can see gold was up, like 0.6% today. It had a big rally because it was in the red earlier, but it had a nice rally of, let's say, 1%. But a lot of these gold stocks, they were up 6%, 10%, 12%, right? And that is kind of a leveraged way, in a sense, to play the increase in, gold's price. And buying options on miner stocks is like a leveraged play, if that makes any sense. And I understand it's extremely risky. Gold stocks are very, very risky. But if you're looking to kind of take a gamble, in my opinion, right now, I think gold stocks are interesting, very interesting. And I'm not one of these gold bugs, guys, by any means. I'm just looking at the stock market, and I'm looking at different ways to make money, kind of out of the box ideas here to make money. Sure, you can buy tech stocks all you want. You can buy these stocks, but at the end of the day, I kind of see more value in these gold stocks in the short term. That's just me being, completely honest. And by no means am I an expert in individual stocks in the gold sector, but GDX and GDXJ, those are ETFs, so they're kind of more diversified. You get a lot of the big players, but some individual stocks that did very well today were Barrick Gold. Barrick Gold was up 8%. This thing has doubled since the middle of March bottom here. Another one that did very well today was Newmont. This was up about 4.3%. Another one was GLD, which is an ETF that pretty much tracks the price of gold. This was up about 1.7% today. This one, Franco-Nevada, was up 7% today. So in general, guys, I'm looking at gold miners, and I'm looking at these ETFs that track gold, and I see a lot of potential in these, and this is where, at this point, I'm putting money in, and I'll continuously buy these in the near term, and especially call options. I'm very interested in GLD calls and GDX calls, longer term calls, probably like January, maybe even September. Those are the times that I'm looking at. And some other stocks, not just gold stocks, because again, I'm not crazy gold bug that just looks at gold stocks. I like trading where I see potential, right? And again, gold stocks is one spot, and I see a lot of potential in stocks such as AMD. At this point, we broke a critical resistance on AMD today at about $50, and now we could potentially rally up to $52.50. This was a resistance back in the beginning of 2020, back in January, before we took that sell-off. And from where we are now, let's say this cools off a bit. Hopefully it does, so we can get a better entry point. Maybe from $50.50, $51 up to, let's say, $52.50 at the minimum, we can make about 2.5 to 3%. And if AMD continues to rally, obviously there's going to be a lot more upside there. And another stock that I almost took a position on. This is one that I was watching this morning, but I noticed how the markets were slipping. That's kind of where I transferred my attention to gold. But before I took that gold position in GDX, I was looking at Square. And again, this is one I was talking about in the Discord chat today. And Square absolutely slipped off a cliff. I was looking at it at $60. If it were to hold 60, I would think there's potential from 60 up to 65, especially if the markets were green. But as the market slipped, Square slipped, and I pretty much just trashed that plan and again went over to GDX. But that doesn't mean that I'm not watching Square tomorrow. I'm still keeping an eye on it, because if the markets rip up, very possible, we may see a rally in Square up to $65, and there's a lot of potential there. And when it comes to a play tomorrow morning that I might be, taking part in, it's Johnson & Johnson. They're actually reporting earnings before the market, so keep an eye out on their earnings. I don't know when they announce them, to be honest. They might announce them at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Let me take a look at that. It doesn't really specify, but either way, it's going to be before the market. So expect some volatility, maybe some volatility. I don't know if there will be, because it is a large cap, kind of not a volatile stock. But either way, I'm watching J&J, and an ETF that's leveraged here that tracks the S&P. If you want to go long the S&P, that is SPXL. And with the technicals that we saw earlier in this video on the S&P, that pretty much the uptrend is continuing, right? We're breaking above critical levels of resistance. These technicals are screaming more upside. So if we do get a rip in the morning, SPXL is definitely going to be one that I'm looking to enter. And again, this is a leveraged ETF. It goes up 3 times what the S&P is going up. So let's say the S&P rips up 2% tomorrow, like it has many times. We can see the SPXL ETF here go up 6%. S&P 2% up, SPXL 6% up. So a lot of potential in SPXL. And did you guys see the electric vehicle stock, which is Tesla, TSLA? And, this thing, man, was up 13% today, up $78. And I don't play the hindsight game, meaning I don't like to look back and be like, crap, I should have bought that stock there. But honestly, I'm looking back now and I'm like, wow, man, Tesla is one of those stocks that it's resilient. It seems like in rough times, it does very well. We saw that back in 2018. It was doing well when the markets were selling off. And that doesn't mean it's going to do well in the next year, if this recession gets worse. But in this time, it's doing very well, and I'm looking back and I'm like, crap, I should have added more Tesla at 350, at 360, but don't play the hindsight game, guys. I know sometimes you look back and you're like, dang it, but the truth is you have to look forward and kind of, plan your next trade, your next investment, and don't focus on what you missed out on, because you can't change the past, and ultimately that would drive you crazy. But either way, Tesla did very, very well today. And I'm not exactly sure what the catalyst was, because again, I was so, in these gold stocks today. I wasn't really watching much other, but it doesn't seem like there was, Actually, there might be. There's an article here on Barron's I'm going to have to read after. But either way, Tesla did very well. And NIO, a Chinese electric vehicle company, did very well as well. This was up 30 cents today, up about 11%. So keep an eye on those two players, guys. Very, very interesting. And overall, that is pretty much it. You know, I'm looking at these gold stocks, tech stocks I'm watching, although I'm not buying into this rally, guys. For the tech stocks at least. But overall, you know, that's it. I'm hoarding cash. I'm being honest with you guys. I'm stacking up my cash right now. I'm not being too crazy when it comes to long-term investing. Honestly, I'm not really buying anything right now in terms of long-term buys. I'm mostly focusing on my trading, my income from trading, as well as these medium-term option plays on some gold, silver stocks, and maybe some medium-term holds in terms of, longer-term swing trades in some of these gold stocks. That's kind of what I'm focused on at this point. And if you guys feel like sharing, if you want to share, you can let me know down below in the comments what you're focusing on. I would love to know. But either way, that's it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, hit that like button, consider subscribing to the channel, and don't forget to claim your 2 free stocks from Webull, linked down below in the description box. They're valued up to $1,400. All you have to do is put in $100 and you get the stocks. And I do appreciate you guys if you do that, as it does help out the channel and all the free content that I'm putting up here on YouTube. So I'll catch you all in the next video. Stay safe out there, guys. Please stay safe. Hopefully everybody's doing well with all the craziness that's going on right now. I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out.